This is the Bear and the Beard podcast. We're just two nerdy guys talking nerdy things. I'm Robert, aka the Bear.
And I'm Brian, aka the Beard. Each week, the Bear and I explore a new topic related to nerd and pop culture.
Our topics range from cinema to comic books, and from literary works to largely popular fandoms, because we believe there's always a nerdy topic to discuss or a nerdy opinion to be given.
And sometimes we may disagree or argue, and you may not always agree with us, but please remember at the end of the day, this is mostly our opinion with a little bit of fact added, and the main goal is to have fun.
That's right. So let's get into it. You ready, brother?
Sure am. Let's get nerdy with it.
Let's go. Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Leonardo. Four of the most well-known artistic masters of the Renaissance period. But this is not that kind of podcast. We do not talk about art and history and stuff like that. So when we say those four names together, we are, of course, talking about the heroes in a half shell, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This week, me and the Beard are joined by the hosts of the Shellheads podcast, Sergio and Jeff, to talk all things TMNT. It's time to get shell-shocked by the Shellheads right after these announcements.
Hey, listen!
Welcome, geeks, nerds, and listeners, both returning and new, to another nerdy discussion.
Yes, welcome. Real quick, the Bear and I just want to give you a few announcements.
That's right, brother. We always put them here at the beginning of each episode so that they don't distract too much from the topic at hand by trying to insert them later on. So we're going to go ahead and get these out of the way.
Firstly, a huge thanks to everyone for downloading, listening, rating, and reviewing the show. We really appreciate the love and support, and your sharing and rating actually helps us to get more listeners.
And speaking of new listeners, if this is your first episode, we really do want to welcome you to the nerdy conversation. If you enjoy this, don't hoard it like that little klepto Smeagol.
Or that stingy dragon Smog.
Right? Please, please, please share it with your friends.
While you're sharing it, you can tell them they can currently find our show just about everywhere you can find podcasts. All thanks to Buzzsprout.com, whom we thank so much for supplying our episodes to all the other platforms every week. And for video versions of our episodes, just go check out our YouTube channel. Just search the Bear and the Beard podcast.
And also, if you have an Alexa, there is a neat trick for how to find our show. Just ask Alexa, "Hey Alexa, play the Bear and the Beard podcast." She'll begin playing our latest episode thanks to Amazon Music.
Along with listening to the show itself, we also invite you to visit our website where you can view past and upcoming topics, share your opinion or input, or even submit your own ideas for future episodes. It's www.thebearandthebeardpodcast.com. That's thebearandthebeardpodcast.com. No spaces, no hyphens.
The website is awesome. Brought to you by Wix.com and created by our very own Bearded Bear team member, Christine, or as we like to call her, Mama Bear.
Good old Mama Bear. And Wix.com also has an app that you can download to connect with us and send your input to us as well.
A few other ways to contact us other than the app or the website. You can also reach us through our email, the Bear and the Beard podcast at yahoo.com, the Nerd line, which is 769-208-4079, or the Facebook page, the Bear and the Beard podcast.
Speaking of Facebook, we want to thank everyone that's already stopped by and liked the page. And a huge thanks to those who continue to share our content. We're proud to report we've reached over 150 likes.
And if you haven't joined that number yet, please do so to stay up to date with all of our nerdy content. And also stay tuned for merch, which will be coming soon. We're going to have shirts, hats, decals, tumblers, etc. Bearded Bear gear will soon be here. I think that's it for now, brother.
I think so too. Now that's out of the way, let's get on to this week's topic.
And here we go.
All right, welcome once again to the Bear and the Beard podcast. I'm Robert Bethany, aka the Bear. I'm joined as always by my faithful co-host, the majestically bearded Brian Guy, the Beard. How are you today, sir?
I am very interested in being shell-shocked.
Yeah, we'll
that doesn't sound dirty, does it?
No, not too bad. We are joined by a now familiar face on our podcast, Mr. Sergio, from not only Reality Breach, but also the Shellheads podcast via video, and the mysterious anonymous Jeff, who is his co-host of Shellheads via audio. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you two doing today as well?
Fantastic. It's gonna be great to be on your show, and it
me be happy about something.
Not hate something. Yeah.
It's,
You don't
it's
have
great.
anything super negative to say about.
Oh, just wait. He will.
Yeah.
Okay.
will.
Okay.
It's great to be here, guys. Thanks for the invite.
Oh yeah, thank you
Thank
for
you
coming.
for being
Yeah,
here.
I think Sergio said when we were doing the whole little like explanation of what it was to have a Sergio hates every segment. He actually said in there, so it's on record. The only thing that I hold to an esteem of, I can't find anything wrong with it, is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So everything else is fair game. I believe
Michael
those are his
Bay.
exact words. So, well, but that's not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles'
Yeah.
fault. That's
Yeah,
Michael
that's
Bay's
not the
fault.
the
and we
turtles
did
are
it.
innocent in that scenario.
We'll get to that later, though.
So, for those of y'all that have no idea what we're talking about, we're of course talking about the blue, orange, red, and purple bandanaed, half human, half turtle heroes of the DC comic universe now. Now, they weren't
Ooh.
always owned by DC.
No.
So,
No, they're not owned by DC.
they are owned by DC now
No, they're
because
not
they have
owned by
Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That was a
Batman,
loaner.
Yeah.
That was a
Was
loaner.
it?
That was a loaner. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. They're owned by
Good,
Nickelodeon.
because I'm really glad that they own the rights to them instead of DC, because I feel like DC would come up more than Michael Bay did. So-
Yeah, IDW actually has the rights to do original stories with them, and they kind of
Okay.
partnered with DC for that run. Good run, by the way. It's a really good run.
Okay. See, I was misinformed. This is why we have you guys here, because y'all know way more about TMNT than we do. So
Hey, Bear.
let's go ahead and get into
Real
it.
quick,
Yo.
real quick, Bear. How's your head feel now that you just got shell shocked?
I know, right? So Ryan actually wanted to start it off with this one, this question. Where did your two phrase this correctly? Where did the two of you separately fall in love with TMNT? So
Where did the love
I guess search. Yeah. Where did this romance with these four teenagers?
Okay, maybe we don't word it that way.
Don't make it weird. It's a romance with turtles. Don't make it weird.
Don't make it weird.
Actually, I'm gonna let Jeff go first.
Oh, wow. Oh, well, thank you.
I'm guessing that doesn't happen on your show, huh, Jeff?
Sometimes it does.
I sense the surprise in his voice.
I was like, oh,
I can
wow.
speak.
For me, I got introduced to the 1987 cartoon and the action figures and just that huge wave that just was unstoppable in the 80s. Video games and stuff like that, and it wasn't until many years later that I was like, wait, this is a comic book? And I was like, oh, and that's not for kids? And that got me even more excited. I'm like, this is really cool. And of course the movies and all that stuff too.
Very nice. Very nice.
Mine is kind of similar to Jeff's. I can kind of trace mine back to very specific moments. Like I was spending the night with my uncle as a kid. He was like babysitting me or something, and he was like, "Hey, go watch TV and leave me alone." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And he turned on the TV, and what was on the TV? The Punk Frogs episode of the Ninja Turtles. And from there, I was like, "Oh, hey, these guys are cool." And then, of course, I got all the action figures, and my mom got me all the Archie comic books because she worked at a grocery store, and they were just, on the racks. And she was just like, "I'll take that home, and I'll take that home."
Right.
But the thing that really got me into Turtles in an obnoxious an obnoxious level would be the 2K3 cartoon, the follow up that was a 4Kids show. Because I had all of that like residual love from when I was a kid. I even still had my comics. So I had, kind of been collecting the Mirage comics going, these are cool. It's awesome that, they're dark and it's really their origin and whatever. But then they announced the 2K3 show and I was like, okay, I'll check this out. Maybe this will be my thing. And then I watched some episodes and it totally became my thing. And like almost 20 years later, I'm still gathering as much Ninja Turtle as I possibly can. So,
Right.
That's awesome.
See,
For-
unlike my co-host, I grew up with TMNT as well in a similar fashion, but I didn't ever fall in love with it. Like the main thing, I remember having the toys as a kid, but I also had Power Rangers. So my big thing was the movie.
Yeah, I'm a little
For
older,
me-
older than you, so
Yeah.
Power Rangers was like Power Rangers. That's a kid show, you know.
Well, actually, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers crossed over.
A couple
Did they?
times, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like live action. Like it was supposed to take place in the same universe that the movies that I watched as a kid. Some people make fun of them, but I actually enjoyed them as a kid. The rubbery suit live action.
Hey, we don't
Teenage Mutant
speak
Ninja
ill
Turtles.
of those first three movies. The second
No.
one, maybe a little, but we
I
don't speak
remember
ill of those
loving them.
movies.
And so it's not that I didn't grow up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I never delve into it too much to where I'm like a hardcore fan and can tell you all kinds of stuff about it. And it's been so long since I've watched it that I don't have the information. But I remember loving it, just like I remember loving the Power Rangers. It just kind of at one point in my childhood, I just stopped kind of caring and got into something else.
I guess if they ever crossed over, it would have been around the time of the Next Evolution TV show that
Next Mutation.
TMNT did. Next Mutation, something like that, where they introduced the fifth turtle, the light blue, the female turtle. I can never remember
That's
her
supposed to be
name.
a sister.
Venus de
Yeah.
Milo.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that would have been about that same time. I'll have to go back and find those episodes. Those sound really interesting, actually.
Hey, Jeff, tell them how we feel about the Next Mutation.
Make sure to listen to the episode of Shellheads where we talk about Next Mutation. We love it so much, we broke it up into 2 parts.
Yeah, we covered the whole series, including the Power Rangers crossover.
Okay.
Positive or negative?
Well,
You'll
they
have to stay
exist.
tuned and find out.
They definitely exist.
What about the while we're talking about things that happened that exist, let's also talk about the Out of Their Shells rock tour. That was a thing.
Oh, God.
The concert tour.
Whose
Jeff,
idea was that, by the way? Can someone look up whose idea that was? 'Cause I watched that in a video.
it was it was mid 90s or early 90s white businessman who likes money. It was his idea, and he was right. Like he made tons of money.
Yeah.
It is hard to watch. Like we actually covered that too. We have a whole episode about that, and it's hard to watch. The suits are terrible. The lip syncing is, the foam suit syncing is really bad. But the songs are kind of bangers. What do you think, Jeff? And I'll be right back. I got something to show you.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
For me, it's a mixed bag. Like Pizza Power, I think it was Pizza Power, was the big main track that introduced me to that. But that was featured on the Turtles in Time arcade cabinet. So that was a cross promotion right there. But that is like legit. It's Pizza Power, right, Sergio? That's the one that I.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Pizza Power. Like I'm just waiting for some rapper to sample it. It's that good.
But pizza power, a flying saucer food delight. Pizza power, oh, that's what makes us feel alright.
It's incredible. For the time. I kind of suffered through watching that video.
Like, I had the VHS as a kid and like kind of wore it out, even though it is objectively terrible. And then Target last year for Comic-Con did an exclusive set of figures, or Target and NECA. Let me hold this up to the camera best I can.
For our audio listeners, what we're seeing is Sergio's prized possession, the actual figurines of the Turtles while on the Out of Their Shells tour, where they didn't have shells and they all had their either guitar or didn't Donnie play like a piano tar or whatever?
Oh, a keytar?
The keytar.
Guitar, yeah.
His keytar's right
So
here.
why were they out
yeah.
of their shells?
Because
it's hard.
they gave up crime fighting to be musicians.
because it's hard
because
to
fuck crime, right?
it's hard to fit a sweet jean jacket over a shell.
I want
Yo, that jacket is tight, son. Yummy.
I want to really like dig into this and make it awkward.
Oh wait, the figures have shells. These things aren't even canon.
They
What?
have shells.
Oh my god.
Wow. So talking about the things that could, I guess, be seen as a joke. And like you said, it was hard to watch. I remember watching it. And I was like, the music's good, but why? Like, why don't they just like release a CD or something? Why do we have to see these actors in these costumes doing
Because
this?
kids are gonna love it.
And we did love it. But now
I
look back on it.
I think I have an answer for that.
What's that?
Well, in the 80s and the 90s, like stage shows were very common.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I'm going to take it to Power Rangers. When that appeared at Universal, it backed up traffic for miles because you couldn't even get in.
Wow.
Which was just crazy.
It was they were trying to get that Disney on Ice money.
Yeah.
Yep. That's another answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Disney on Ice money. I like that. But now, and we know, and we can kind of move on to the second topic here. Like I said, talking about things that are kind of seen as a joke. TMNT, where did it actually start? It actually did start out as a joke. We know from listening to the creators, and there's tons of documentaries out there like The Toys That Made Us, excuse me, and stuff like that, where we find out that it was just two guys sitting around drawing these humanoid turtles as a joke, and then they were finally like, we could make our own comic book, and then it went from there. And I don't know all the details, but where did it go from there?
Yeah. So these two New England dudes, Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman, they kind of met and they formed a brotherhood doesn't matter over their love for Jack Kirby, and they just one night came up with this idea of Ninja Turtles, and then they just kept adding adjectives to it. It's like, oh no, they're teenagers. Oh, they're mutants. They're mutant Ninja Turtles, and each one of them kept impressing each other with the pictures of the turtles they were drawing. And then it was just kind of the seed of an idea that got out of hand, and they ended up drawing an entire comic book that they actually borrowed money from one of their uncles. I can't remember which one it was. One of them borrowed money from their uncle to have it printed, and they only printed a few thousand copies, thinking, well, that was a fun project. We're never going to, do this again. Here's issue 1. Have fun, everybody. Let's kill our main villain in the first issue. and they totally just killed the Shredder in issue 1. And then when the books hit stores in New England, they sold out immediately, and comic shops are like, all right, send us more. They didn't have any more to send, so they're like, restart the printers. We need to print more. And then it just kept selling, and they ended up making a book 2 and a book 3 and a book 4. And by the time it got to book like 4 or 5, that's when, that's when everyone else started to notice. That's when outside of the comic book world started to notice. Does that sound about right, Jeff?
Yes, 100%.
And based on the video, they didn't think that they could do it full time until it just kind of got out of hand.
Until they had to do it full time. That's what
because
it was.
They didn't have like a fancy shop or anything.
Just all out of their house.
It reminds me of the success story of Steve Jobs. Like, he started Apple in his garage, with a couple of prototypes, and now not everybody is an Apple user like I am, but we all have these smart computers in our pockets.
Samsung is better, but
there's MacBooks and tons of things that Apple has created now, and it all started with 2 or 3 guys in a garage building a prototype. Yeah. So it's a real big success story.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say they didn't really have a studio. That's absolutely true. That's the reason the company that printed them is called Mirage Studios, is because their workspace was a mirage. There was no studio. It was just like their apartment.
Imagination.
That's so cool. And now it's gone on to be, like I said earlier, owned by Nickelodeon. My kids have even watched the newer animated series that Nickelodeon put out. They're not terrible, but I can't watch them just, I guess, because it's a little too kiddish for me now. I
Which
can go back and
one?
watch the original one, the one from the '80s and stuff like that, even with its bad graphics. But I do that with X-Men too.
This is a little off topic, but having looking up, because I was doing a little bit of research before this episode, I got to see some of the animation styles they have for some of the new shows, and this isn't just for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is for a lot of kids shows now. They don't put any effort into making these shows look good
None.
at all. We have the technology now.
I so
and they
disagree
look
with every
so
single word of
awful.
that sentence.
Well, it depends. There are
It
exceptions.
looks cheesy.
There are exceptions, but overall, it's kind of a mixed bag.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one you're to which you're referring, but Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the most recent Turtles series, it takes a lot of shit. Like, a lot of people do not like it because they mess with a lot of stuff. And a lot of people do not like the way it's animated. However, when you sit down and actually pay attention to the story and the adventure that they're presenting on screen, it is a visual showcase. The thing is the character models look kind of goofy.
Right.
So
Well,
if you can get
I
past the
remember-
goofy character models, it's a beautiful show.
I remember there was one, I can't remember exactly which, because it's been through so many revamps now too,
Mhm.
where it looked kind of like claymation. It was more like 3D animation, but they mixed in a lot of like elements of like anime. So like the turtles' faces would do those weird like jaw-dropping things, and that was a little hard to visually take in. But I see what Brian's talking about. Like if you take the original Teen Titans animated series, very well done, very well animated, and then you look at its now um, descendant, Teen Titans
Yeah.
Go, where it's like very little effort. It's almost the same animation style, but drawn way differently, and because it's the drawing style, not so much the animation style, and it's crap. I can't watch it. I actually asked my kids, like, hey, look, if you're going to watch Teen Titans Go, will you please sit down and watch the original just so you'll know where it came from? Please, please, please. So, because I loved the original as a kid. But yeah, I kind of see what he's saying. But there again, I mean, we have shows like The Regular Show and The Amazing World of Gumball and stuff like that, that the animation's not great. And like you said, or like Jeff said, it's a mixed bag. It really just depends on whether you invest in the story and stuff like that. Like I could sit down and watch Foster's Home for Imaginary Kid or for Imaginary Friends all day, and it's almost the same exact animation style as The Regular Show or Adventure Time, and I can't watch those shows. So
I guess
Yeah.
what I'm
Legit
talking
love
about
all
is
of it.
actually an animated movie. The style I'm looking at. And actually it was created by one of the people who was working on it is actually one of my favorite actors, Seth Rogen. Or at
Oh,
least
that's
his
not out yet.
production company.
Yeah, that's not out yet.
That style that I saw, I don't like that style of animation. I don't
Well,
know what
that's
it is
not,
about it.
Yeah, that's
You
not
talking
out
about the
yet.
CGI 2012 one.
no,
I don't know.
if
It's
the Seth Rogen one's not out yet, then
Yeah.
it might still be in pre-production. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But while we're talking about films, we had the first three, which Sergio already talked about. The live action, the first one, of course, has that incredible line, the
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
and that was a great movie. The second one, maybe not so much, but I mean, it was still good.
I
Third one
remember
was
loving
great.
them all, but I was a kid. Kids love
Yeah.
everything, so.
But then we got a revamp, just within the last decade or so, from one of our favorite directors.
To
that
quote
we've already
back to
talked
our
about
Michael Bay
episode.
Exploded My Childhood episode.
Yeah.
Michael Bay.
So what's
Yeah.
up, Shellheads, with
But-
the Michael Bay films?
Before they get into it, I just want to say what the and I think I said this in the episode where we were shitting on Michael Bay. What is Michael Bay's obsession with Megan Fox?
Right?
Megan Fox. Megan Fox.
I'm pretty
In
sure that's what he
steroids.
wants to do.
Right. That's the obsession right there.
Hey, if I put you in this movie, give you a ton of
It's
money.
pretty clear. Pretty clear.
But what is up with those Michael Bay films, guys? Like, what happened?
We're gonna have to let Sergio take this one because I have yet to watch them. Because look, before he asked me to join Shellheads, I had no intention of ever watching those movies because his name was on it. I hate him that much. But now I'm going to and before the pandemic hit, we were gonna eat delicious pizza and watch movies.
The movies, it was so bad. Pizza Hut didn't come back for the second one.
Yeah. So, okay. Here we go. I do blame Michael Bay, but technically he didn't direct either one of them.
Really?
His production company, Platinum Dunes, produced both of them, and he had one of his understudies like do the first one. And the first one is riddled with just plot that doesn't make sense because it's obvious they did a ton of rewrites and reshoots after the whole Turtles are aliens fiasco, which I'm sure both of you heard because that was all over Geek News. It's you can see like the seams in that movie, and also the character design is absolutely garbage. Like it's all the turtles look like they were designed by 15-year-olds in a art class. It's like, give them more muscles. Maybe if they have real lips. Yeah. Like,
It's like if Shrek and the Hulk had a baby.
Yeah. Like, they all look like villains from the Gears of War franchise.
And they're so huge that how could they ever be ninjas? How could they ever sneak around?
Right.
Yeah.
They almost look like they're not quite the size of a Transformer, but it almost felt like it was Transformers 10.
The only thing I liked about either one of those movies was the fact that Steve Amell was Casey Jones.
Casey Jones.
And actually, what's his name being Vernon is really good.
Yeah.
The guy who played Lego Batman. What's his name?
Yeah.
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. Yeah, him playing Vernon is kind of perfect casting.
You're a talking turtle, and you're a human nerd.
Yeah.
But
I'm actually very surprised that they weren't directed by Michael Bay exclusively because they got those stupid, like they're cool angles, but they're so overdone by Michael Bay that you kind of hate seeing them. It's like the weird overshot where everything's above the camera. It's like, stop.
Yeah. Like as a layman who doesn't have any affinity for Transformers, I watched that first Transformers movie going, that was impressive, cool explosions, wow,
it was good.
Then the second movie comes out, and I'm like, oh, so that's it. It's just one note. That's all we're gonna do. And then these two Turtles movies are very much in that same vein. Now, I will say, the second movie is 100 times better than the first one, and I feel like they took their time to try to understand the appeal of the characters for the second movie, like bringing in Bebop and Rocksteady, playing up the goofy 80s aspect of the cartoon really worked in the second movie. But at that point, the well was poisoned because the first one was so bad.
Yeah, how's the old saying go? You can sprinkle glitter on a turd, but it's still a turd.
Yeah.
There actually was one scene in the first one that I actually enjoyed. It was when Splinter was interrogating the turtles and basically teasing them with pizza. I did enjoy that scene, but it's hard to enjoy it when the turtles look like.
Yeah. Jeff, I can't wait till you watch this scene. But my favorite scene in either of the movies is actually in the first movie. It's the elevator scene where they just start beatboxing. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Even a movie has some golden moments. Like that was enjoyable.
I feel like the Michael Bay films were so bad that I kind of feel like I don't want Jeff to have to watch them, but hosts a podcast about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so he probably needs to.
Dude, I watched Next Mutation. That's better
Yeah.
than these
Yeah.
new movies, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, like the next
Mm,
mutation is unfortunately like 20 something episodes long. So at the very least, these new movies are shorter.
Yeah, that's true.
I won't suffer as much watching those as I did Next Mutation.
Yeah, and I'm going to like relish watching you watch them. So
Yeah.
I kind
And
of want to. I kind of want to be there for that. Like, we need to do a viewing party. Like, I just like I got both of them. I'll pop it in same time as you guys. I'll order me some Pizza Hut, and we'll just sit down and watch it together, just so I can see that happen.
set
You
up
could do
like
both.
4 cameras.
You could do Pizza Hut or Domino's because
Oh.
they both featured,
Yeah.
in the movies.
here's an important question that we did not have ready that I just thought of. Because of their love for pizza, this is slightly off topic, but not because of their love for pizza. What is your perfect pizza? And Bear, I want to ask you this too.
Jeff, go first.
Like just in general, or like
Everything,
any
the brand, and what would you put on it? What kind of crust? The whole shebang.
If you could build your dream pizza, Jeff,
So
what would
it's
it be?
a well-constructed question.
I'm gonna take it into left field completely and say I would bring the Bigfoot back from Pizza Hut.
It's Bigfoot!
Oh, I remember that one.
So many freaking birthday parties and weekend get-togethers and everything. That was the biggest staple in our household. I want that freaking pizza back.
The Bigfoot.
We would get half pepperoni and sausage, or whatever. That's my go-to number one. But in general, I'm a pepperoni guy.
There you go.
I mean, for me that's classic. Deep dish, whatever it is, I will eat it. And we're getting a Pizza Shack in Brandon, so I will be enjoying that when it comes.
Very nice.
The Bigfoot, for those of y'all that don't remember it, was a pizza that was sold from 1993 to the mid-1990s by Pizza Hut. It was a large-sized pizza measuring 12 inches by 24 inches, or 2 square feet, and was cut into 21 slices. This made it ideal for parties. Customer could choose up to 3 toppings for their order of the Bigfoot. At one point in 1993, Pizza Hut put in a free trial month of HBO with the purchase of the Bigfoot as a limited time offer. The free video rental for Blockbuster Video was also offered with the Bigfoot for a limited time. There was also the Bigfoot Big 6, which was a variation with 6 different toppings and sold for the same price as the standard Bigfoot.
It was
So,
$10
that's pretty cool, though.
back then. $10.
I'm not a big Pizza Hut guy. I used to be. My whole thing on pizza flipped. I used to love Pizza Hut and hated Domino's. Now I love Domino's and I hate Pizza Hut.
I've always
Domino's
been a
up
Pizza
their
Hut
game.
guy because they were the trademark of the stuffed crust. So
Now everybody's got stuffed crust,
now everyone has it, so it doesn't matter.
and everybody's got chicken sandwiches now too.
I don't like stuffed crust. Shoot me.
Love stuffed crust. It's the only pizza you can eat backwards.
You can eat all pizza backwards.
I
There are
know,
no rules.
That's the slogan.
There are no rules.
Sergio, what's your dream pizza?
Definitely not pepperoni. I'm a, I guess what would be called a weakling. I don't like anything with any kind of spice to it, and I know pepperoni isn't spicy, but I don't like to burp and taste pizza an hour later. Which I always do when I eat pepperoni. I am very much like a mushroom guy, mushroom and ham and mushroom
Okay.
with a extra sauce, like extra marinara and whatever it's called, like pizza sauce on. And there's not really a bad pizza place. I know, Jeff. I know you don't have to say anything. Yes, but any pizza right out of the oven is delicious.
Little skeezers.
Okay, Little Caesars
Hey,
is delicious
I actually
right out of the oven.
I actually love Little Caesars. It is
Little
not
Caesars
just because of the
used
price.
to be really good, but now the fact that they're prepping their pizzas takes a little bit of the enjoyment out of it. Like,
In the
Being able to
90s,
walk in and just
fresh
drop
out of the
milk out.
oven is good. Hot and ready is not the same thing as fresh out of the oven, however.
I like the hot and
So,
ready. I like walking in there with
Well,
$5
convenience, yeah.
and getting a large pizza, and it actually tastes good.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
doesn't
it tastes
like
good.
cardboard.
It's, for me,
I
it
mean,
just
don't get me
doesn't
wrong.
taste as much
I
as the
have
other.
nothing against value for families and all that other stuff. $5 can feed your whole family. That's great. But I don't want it to taste like cardboard with sauce on it for
It
me.
doesn't. It fresh out. Now I'll give it 45 minutes. You're but prior to that, it's delicious.
I just can't.
But if I were to be like, hey, order me a pizza, unfortunately, Papa John's.
There you go.
Yeah,
Papa John's with extra sauce is the way to go.
like that you say, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We won't get
Bear,
into
what
that.
are you ordering?
I'm gonna order. Actually, I can blame mine and Sergio's friend Matt, not Hombrolo, who's been featured on this show before. I'm gonna blame our friend Matt for this one.
Karaoke
where-
Matt.
Yes, karaoke Matt. Number one karaoke in this Jack, like a couple of years running. He had me try a pizza. I don't know where it came from, but I've replicated it, and it's pretty much good across the board. I'd order it from Pizza Hut with a stuffed crust, and that is pepperoni, extra cheese with, and I might get some hate for this, pineapple on it. Because
No
the
hate
sweet
here.
and the spicy together is amazing. And with the stuffed crust, with the extra cheese, it's delicious. But second runner-up
Save
would
his
also be
soul,
Papa
please.
John's. The spinach Alfredo pizza that Papa John's has is pretty good.
So
I would,
so
I would never tarnish pizza with pineapple.
pineapple
ever.
is delicious on pizza.
It's
I
no, it's
saw-
not.
I
But
saw-
that's a
I
debate for
saw a
another
post-
day.
I saw a post today that said it was actually, I showed it to Mama Bear. It was the picture of a pizza, and it was like, yes, please, I'd like mayo and peas on my pizza. And then the first
Ugh.
comment under the was, non-pineapple and pineapple pizza havers need to join forces to stop this evil.
What's that? A
here's
shepherd's
an unpopular
pizza?
opinion. I don't
Right.
like, and it's not that I don't like ranch, but I don't like chicken bacon ranch. Everyone acts like that's a god pizza, but it's actual garbage.
I don't like it when my pizza has meat on it that's chunkier than the pizza. Like, I don't like eating
Actually, that's
chicken
not
pizza.
true.
That's shredded
I-
chicken.
sometimes if it's weighted, that doesn't bother me. There's Casey's around here. Now Casey's pizza is not the best pizza by any means, but for a while they had this meatball pizza where they'd put these half of meatballs on top, and it sounds weird, but it was good.
Hmm.
Sounds delicious.
I'd try.
I've had Casey's. Casey's pizza reminds me a lot of Chuck E. Cheese pizza. I had a pepperoni
Oh.
slice while we were up in
Oh.
Nebraska, and it's real greasy, but it's a taste you recognize, and if you liked it, you still like it. If you didn't like it, you still hate it. So
Basically, what we say around here when we have a Casey's is, if you want Casey's pizza, then you want Casey's pizza. But if you want pizza, you don't want Casey's pizza. And I hope
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
what's
So
your-
I have a pizza story. I know that we're supposed to be talking about Ninja Turtles, and this is way off brand. But
Hey, this is a conversation that turtles would be having. I swear.
so
Yes.
so I went to college in Hattiesburg, Southern, right?
Mhm.
And while I was there was this like urban legend that there was this guy who would, if you called him any time of night and order a pizza from him, he would show up at your door with his dog in an unmarked pizza box, and he'd be like, $10 here.
What?
Yeah, he was known as the underground pizza guy, and
Should've
his
called it
pizzas weren't they weren't amazing. They were good enough to get you through a drunk night, but I tried it one night because like his number would just get like passed via text message, or like, here, call the underground pizza guy, or hey man, we're really high and hungry. Like he was an urban legend in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and of the few times I ordered from him, it was like, you call him, he's like, underground. Are you the pizza guy? Yeah, what you want? Can I get a large pepperoni? He's like, yeah. Where you at? And of course you give your address. See you in 20. And he would just show up in 20 minutes later and drop off this, again, unmarked box. Like there were legends as to how he became this guy, that he like was a disgruntled Pizza Hut employee who stole the oven. Like, there are all kinds of shit. And I don't know how much of it was real, but apparently as of like 5 years ago, he just disappeared.
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah, it says here for years, one of Hattiesburg's greatest enigmas has been the underground pizza man. Hattiesburg residents have looked to the mysterious pizza proprietor to combat late night hunger solely by the word of mouth. The phone number of the nameless pizza man has been passed on to Southern students over the years. When Hattiesburg calls the mysterious number, they are answered with an abrupt "yeah." And then after submitting your order for the pizza of your choice, the call is ended 20 minutes before hanging up the phone. Then, like clockwork, a mysterious Tommy Chong lookalike would knock on the door sporting a Che Guevara t-shirt and cargo shorts accompanied by his dog.
And
After pulling the change for your $9 large pizza from his sock, the underground would swiftly disappear to return to the secret location of his pizza kitchen while the customer is left at the door with the most delicious late night pizza of Hub City.
We need
And
to
he has gone
revisit.
missing.
We need to revisit talking about this when we do our 420 episode. Just
Yes.
saying.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There has been
Yeah.
many a nights where I would have very much loved to have this guy.
That's literally one of the coolest stories I've ever heard.
Same here. I didn't know.
I'm gonna
about
tell that
That's
to
awesome.
people now. Like,
The
that's
under
great.
pizza man. Yeah. Brian, you asked us. Let's ask you. What's your dream pizza?
Oh, I don't have any Domino's around me, so I can't ever get it. But a Domino's pizza, I just get the meat galore, and I don't know what all meats they have in it, but it's the perfect combination. And they have like this garlic buttery sauce they put on the crust, and it's just yes, please.
Let me ask you
I
this:
haven't-
do you have a Marco's pizza anywhere near you?
No.
Oh, Marco's was my favorite until they closed. Here,
Marco's is pretty good. Yeah, I've had it over in Alabama where one of the franchise stores is still open.
I never had a bad pizza from them, ever. They knew me by name.
Well, we got to get off of pizza and get back onto Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Does anyone remember why the Turtles were obsessed with pizza?
Now that'll hit the spot.
It was part of the making the Turtles into a marketable children's show. Having them
Okay.
be super into pizza was very much a cartoon thing. I don't think
Well-
there was ever a reference in the original comics to them liking pizza.
Show me a teenager back in the 80s and 90s that didn't like pizza, though. And, you know, or at least
Well,
the majority did.
Like, show me a teenager who's not like a vegan who doesn't like pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they don't,
I mean, I remember.
then you should
many a
probably put them on
nights-
some sort of watch list.
My
Yeah.
parents are on keto, and they like to get the cauliflower crust pizza, and they say, "Oh man, it tastes just like pizza." No, it doesn't. It tastes like you slapped some spaghetti sauce and some fucking cheese on top of some cauliflower. It's not pizza. Get it the out of here.
I've always loved that too. Like with fake food. Like fake food's come a long way in the past 10 years, especially. But I always loved that. Like there's plenty of jokes that comedians have told where it's like, yeah, well, my fake such and such tastes just like it. No, it doesn't. And even if it did, then you're a hypocrite because why are you trying to taste something that you're not supposed to have? Like that doesn't make any sense. So, if it tasted just like it, it would be it, and then you wouldn't be able to have it. So hush.
I just love food. We need to episode food. That's the title of an episode
Just
coming up.
food.
Just food.
Sergio
Yeah.
hates food. I can't wait.
Sergio hates cake. Sergio hates cake. So let's get to the final question, the question of the hour. Who is your favorite turtle? There are 4 to choose from, of course, and there are 4 of
Technically,
us.
there's a lot to choose. More than 4.
Well,
if you're being
yeah.
technical, there's a lot more than 4. Jeff, I'm gonna let you field this one first.
Oh, courteous once again. One that fits my personality is Michelangelo. Through and through. Video games, pizza, obsession. In the 2012 series, he kind of became obsessed with the what was it? The Sergio was the Super Robot show that they were watching, which was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like as far as iteration of Michelangelo, like I kind of love them all. It's really, really hard to pick. The 2012 Mikey is just all over the place and does some of the most insane and hilarious things out of any iteration that I've seen. Especially when he gets a hold of smoke bombs for the first time, that's just the icing on the cake. And I don't know, he's just always I've just identified with him the most. I can't use nunchucks though.
Keep practicing.
Yeah, he's always my go-to, like in the video games and stuff like that. And he has the biggest heart out of all of his brothers, so I kind of identify with that.
Yeah, you got to give him credit on that. He is definitely a lover, not a fighter kind of guy. I mean, he is a fighter because he's a ninja, but he's definitely got the biggest heart out of all of them.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, like it depends on the iteration. Like he is one of the strongest fighters. Like he will when it comes down to it, if it's really serious, he's gonna kick some.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. And I'm going to speak to your favorite turtle for a moment there, Jeff.
Okay.
I totally get it. Like having podcasted with you for 2 years now, 2 years, 3 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah,
it feels like hasn't been that long.
He is very happy. He's a very fun-loving, very positive being, which is Jeff in a nutshell. Like it doesn't really matter how angry Jeff is about somebody f***ing up his favorite TV show or whatever. At the core, he's coming at it from a point of happiness. It's like, you are removing my happiness from me, and that bothers me. Bring me my happiness back. That's Jeff in a nutshell, right? That's also Michelangelo in a nutshell. Or I guess in a half shell, I guess would be the right way to put that. Michelangelo is the most thoughtful of all of the turtles, and this kind of rears its head in iterations that aren't cartoons. Like he's a writer. He's the one that wants to spend the most time with the children that are in the stories that are being told. He's a very family oriented guy, and again, that's Jeff.
Oh.
Yeah.
So before I get to my actual favorite, as I've alluded to, everyone knows that there's 4 turtles. Like that's kind of canon. Everyone knows, hey, Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello, Leonardo. But let me throw a few nuggets of knowledge here. We mentioned Venus de Milo earlier in the show. That was the terrible 5th female turtle that was in the Next Mutation. Well, there's been a few other 5th turtles. I'm going to say 5th. The audio people can't hear
your air quotes.
Yeah, my air quotes.
Yeah.
But there was ever since way back in the day, there was a robot turtle, and Jeff loves this guy, Metalhead.
Yep.
There was Metalhead. There was Slash, who was in the original cartoon and also a lot of the comic books, and has been a reoccurring turtle in several of the iterations. There is also a new 5th turtle in the IDW comic named Jenica, and she was mutated by taking a blood transfusion from Leonardo, which is wild, but it's a really cool story. Then in like a side story in the Archie comics, April became a turtle for like 5 minutes. Like, the idea of a 5th turtle is one that always pops up and is always kind of fun, sometimes great. With that said, Raphael's my favorite.
To talk about the blood transfusion thing for a second, I've seen that done in another animated series in one of my favorites, Young Justice, where that's the backstory of Beast Boy. That iteration of Beast Boy is he has to get a blood transfusion from Miss Martian, and that turns him green, first of all, and then also makes him be able to change into animals. Now, of course, that's not the backstory of Beast Boy in the comics or in any other iteration, but for that show, that was pretty interesting. So I actually didn't know about the blood transfusion from Leo. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Jenica's a cool character. Like, I really like her. As for my favorite, as I said, Raphael all the way. It was almost
guy.
Like, yeah, that guy. It was oddly enough, it was almost like they wrote him to be my favorite, because like as a kid, I was an obnoxious little smart kid who was like, what about this? And that was who he was in the original cartoon. He was just a little asshole.
Yeah.
Well,
I
you know, as I grow up and I familiarize myself with more versions of the character, I find out that he's actually also a hothead. He's very angry, very angsty.
My name is Raphael. I'm known as a hothead, a maniac. But I have my sensitive side too.
And I was a teenager, and I was a teenager during grunge, and then I was an adult like in my 20s during emo. So I know all about emotions and anger, right?
Yeah. I mean, you do have a segment on our show called Sergio Hates Everything. Who other than a hothead?
Because everything sucks, right?
Yeah, there you go. Everything sucks. F everybody. Like,
I noticed that Leonardo's not going to get any love today because my favorite was always Donatello, simply because of the staff.
Yes, that's a good reason.
Oh yeah, staffs are awesome.
Yeah. I've always just identified with Raphael on multiple levels. So
yeah. Beard, you said yours is Donatello.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said mostly because of the staff. I always thought the staff was pretty cool too.
The simplest gadget is still the most effective.
Talking about that for a minute, I love the fact that all four of them chose a different weapon. Like, I know that was like probably just to set them apart in the comic books originally or something like that, but they are each a master of that one weapon. It doesn't mean that they can't use the other turtles' weapons, because we've seen that happen before, where Leonardo can pick up the staff and use it just as well as Donnie, but they are each a master of their one weapon. And that really sets them apart, which I find that to be really cool.
What's really crazy is how their weapons have kind of morphed into their personality as well. Like Donatello, he's the smart one who doesn't need any more than a bow staff.
Right.
Leonardo is the most disciplined, who has the most traditionally lethal weapon. Raphael is a brute who, gets very angry, likes hand-to-hand combat, wants to get close with his sai.
Right.
Michelangelo has the most complex, confusing-ass weapon, but he's also the most skilled at using it.
And it's the most flashy weapon too, which can really be said about Michelangelo as well.
Yeah, so it's crazy how over time they've kind of become one with their weapon.
Mm-hmm. My favorite was Leonardo, actually. So he is going to get a little bit of love. It was actually a tie always between Leo and Donatello. I loved Donatello because, like Sergio said, he's smart. He can solve a lot of problems. He made it cool to be a nerd because he was the nerdiest of the four, and he could solve a lot of problems just with science or mathematics, geometry, all those other things that they couldn't solve by themselves. Like they get there, but not without Donnie. But then on the other side of things, Leo is the good son, essentially. He's the leader. He was the Captain America of the Turtles to me. And since Captain America's always been my favorite superhero, Leo speaks to that side of me as well. Which my favorite rendition of Leo, though, was from the animated TMNT movie, where he's actually off on his own in trying to solve problems in the Congo and stuff, and gets brought back to New York, and everyone's, Raphael's the only one that really had a problem with it, but him and Raph have always been kind of at each other's throats too. So that was my favorite rendition of Leo, because it's like he went off to do his own thing and then got brought back and was still, once he fit back into the slot, everything was good. And that was a good storyline too. I loved the Immortals storyline of that movie. It wasn't the Foot Clan that they really had to worry about. It was this looming darkness.
Patrick Stewart.
we also did an episode on that movie, and we have very positive things to say about that film. Let's just pour one out for a moment. For the fight scene between Leo and Raph. Like that 5 or 6 minutes worth of fight is worth watching the entire movie.
Yeah,
it might be like me and Jeff are talking about doing an episode where we list our 5 favorite Turtles moments, and that might be in my top one. Like,
because it wasn't
fight
just
scene's
a
amazing.
fight scene, but it had a lot of a lot of expletive in it too. Like that. I love it when when writers can work expletive into the movie instead of it just being obvious. Like, oh, this character's only talking to give us backstory. Like, this character would not have a line if we already knew what they're telling us. So, that's one of the greatest movie sins or storytelling sins, really, that I really don't like. So I love that the fight and the expletive were just kind of like, all right, here, or not expletive. What's the word?
Exposition.
Exposition.
Yes. Yeah. That whole fight scene is a story.
Yeah.
Like, you could just watch that fight scene. The rest of the movie. Don't the rest of the movie. It's a great movie, but like if you're pressed for time, that fight scene's fucking great.
That 6 minutes is why that movie didn't need a prequel. Just it was that movie. You didn't need anything else, and it was great. So,
and it's technically it's the fourth film as it lines up with the other movies. And you kind of get a tie-in at the end with all the, the trophy room and stuff like that. But yeah, the way that scene is lit and shot and just the action, everything, like it's such a damn shame that it didn't do better. Because we were going to get 2 more movies, and I think like Michelangelo was going to join the Foot Clan or something, and it was going to be just crazy. And I'm like, why are you people telling me this information? No,
you're not going to
make it. Don't tell me what could have been.
I'm
Jeff. I'm into being happy.
Yeah. What I do I'm kind of 50-50 on the new movie because Seth Rogen's been attached to The Boys and was it Preacher. And also the latest Invincible, which is on Amazon Prime right now, which I've watched, is pretty dope. So
Seth Rogen is my spirit animal.
I'm kind of hopeful. I'm 50-50. I hope we get something very special.
One thing
I can't say that I've disliked anything Seth Rogen's done.
Green Hornet.
I have a lot to talk about Seth Rogen in our 420 episode.
But I didn't like it because of him. So
yeah.
I enjoyed Green Hornet, but I have no context. Like, I don't know if that's a good Green Hornet movie. It's a good Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah. It's like, can you classify it as a superhero movie? Well, we don't really know because it was based off of a radio drama that came out years before. So you can't really say.
Comic and TV series.
True.
Nothing
Give us a reboot and see if it's any better than the first one, and then we'll have some context.
That actually might happen. Somebody got the rights that's a big fan, so we'll see.
Well, hopefully they don't do what M. Night Shyamalan did to one of our favorite franchises in that case.
We don't talk it.
We don't. No,
that's M. Night Shyamalan ding dong.
M. Night Shabibble Bubble is what we call him on this show.
Like M. Night can't even follow up his own franchises. Like, don't let him follow up on someone else's. Like,
right.
Who's worse, Michael Bay or M. Night Shyamalan?
Did you see Glass?
M. Night Shyamalan. Michael Bay's had some good movies, and we talked about that in our Michael Bay.
Yeah. The funny thing about Michael Bay is he didn't start making bad movies until he started with our childhood. Like, Michael Bay has his name attached to some amazing movies, like The Rock and the Bad Boys franchise, great franchise. He has his name attached to some great movies. He didn't start making bad ones until he started with our childhood.
And like we said in that episode, it's not even just that. It's all the things he gets praised for in the movies that were good. He just decided, well, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing then. The same camera angles, the same sunlight blinding the audience.
He's a typecasted director.
The same shots.
Yeah,
he used the same footage from I can't remember which film it was, but in Transformers, it's the exact same shot.
I love the first Transformers. Not gonna lie,
the first one,
even though Megan Fox was in it.
The only one I liked was Bumblebee because he was not involved.
Oh, he was involved. Watch out, Jeff. He was involved.
He was a producer. He had nothing to do with it. They locked him in a damn closet.
He had as much to do with Bumblebee as he did the Ninja Turtles movies.
Which was nothing.
The first Transformers movie, everything about it I actually think was damn good, except for Megan Fox's acting, and that's because I don't think she can act for shit.
What's crazy is Megan Fox isn't why those Turtles movies are bad. Like, she was perfectly fine.
She was
but
actually decent.
She
in
might
those
not been.
movies.
She might have not been the reason why they were bad, but did she have that important of a role? Was she a spotlight actress? No, because she fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Except the horror. Actually, Jennifer's Body was good.
Well,
She was good in that.
she can play good horror. That's the takeaway.
Horror, not horror.
Horror.
That is not what it sounded like you said, though.
Someone's gonna get canceled.
Guys,
I'm canceled.
The beard's gonna get shaven. Everything.
I
It's
know
all
it's
over.
called Jennifer's Body, so I can't say whether it was actually good or not. So I can't say whether she was actually decent in it or not. But guys, we really appreciate y'all coming and educating us a little bit on a franchise that I obviously don't like as much as you guys because we didn't devote a whole podcast to it. But we did dedicate one episode, and we're glad y'all were a part of it. Thank y'all so much for being here. We'll try to have y'all back when we talk Transformers because that's another kind of 80s thing. So
I mean, yeah, that's kind of my thing too.
okay. Well, I'm an Autobot for life. I'm tagged, so I got the tattoo and everything
Speaking
on
of
the chest.
tattoos, here,
There
can
you
you see it? Can you?
Yeah. Teenage
Okay.
Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage. I like the Avengers symbol down there at the bottom too.
Oh
That's
yeah, I
awesome.
got that too.
Well, Sergio, Jeff, thank y'all so much again, and we'll talk to y'all next time. In the meantime, check us out next week for another episode. I've been the Bear. That's been the
I've been
Beard.
beard.
Want to remind y'all to stay awesome
Stay bearded.
and
much
much
love.
love. We're gonna leave y'all with Sergio Hates Everything right after this, and we're out.
And now it's time for Sergio Hates Everything. This week's topic is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans.
Okay. Let's all sit down and have a serious conversation about one of my most beloved franchises. I talk a lot of about a lot of things, and I don't apologize for it, and that's fine. However, the Ninja Turtles have so much potential. They're deep stories, deep, adult, dark, violent, bloody, amazing stories to tell. But for some reason, Ninja Turtles fans get in the way of that. And while I say that, fully knowing that I hosted Ninja Turtles podcast, and a lot of you fans probably listen to it, and I apologize to you in advance, but listen closely because you're wrong. First, they're teenagers. We should have an opportunity to see them be teenagers. Two, they're ninjas. There needs to be blood. There needs to be cutting. There needs to be dying. Okay? Three, well, I don't really have a third, but hear me out here. Ninja Turtles are more than a child's TV show, and they've been marketed as a children's TV show and movie franchise for 30 years now. We've had like a dozen iterations of varying quality and success, and the reason that keeps happening is because no one pays any attention to any of the adult-related Ninja Turtle that comes out. The comic book sells okay, not a blockbuster. The original comic book, amazing, sells amazing for an independent comic book. No one gives a shit because of the TV show. The TV show, marketed towards children, makes $1 gazillion. Suddenly, Ninja Turtles are a kids franchise, and now it's typecast for the rest of time as, oh, that's a kid thing. Oh, that's a kid thing. Oh, that's a kid thing. Try to get an adult over the age of 37 or over the age of 48 to watch Ninja Turtles and be like, this is for adults. No, Ninja Turtles is for kids, and that's bullshit. Ninja Turtle is not for kids. It's for adults. And all of you who were children when you saw the original TV show should know this. Let the Turtles grow up with you. Let them be violent. Let them kill. Let them have like adolescent strife. The Turtles deserve better than what you fans, that's really brutal. I'm sorry. I don't mean you fans, but you fans keep making them make this, and it's frustrating. Listen to Shellheads. It's available on iTunes and Spotify or anywhere you can find your podcasts.
This has been Sergio Hates Everything. See you next time.
Boom, cut the check.
All right.
Whew.
Woo, another episode done. Thank you so much for listening.
If you enjoyed this, be on the lookout for audio episodes every Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time and video episodes at noon the very same day. So check back each week or subscribe so your device just downloads it automatically.
And Apple users, please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. And no matter where you listen, please share our podcast with all of your nerdy friends.
And the links to the Facebook page, website, Nerdline, and email can be found in the episode details as always, so you can talk nerdy to us. All right, your ideas and feedback may even be featured in future episodes.
Lastly, a huge thanks to the rest of the Bearded Bear team.
Our graphic designer and head researcher, Mama Bear, Christine.
Our assistant researcher, Asher.
And our social media influencer, Faith.
Talk at you next week, nerds. Until then, stay awesome.
Stay bearded.
And much love. Bye.